So now I'm going to talk about how to make stuff stick and how to make stuff viral. And that is unbelievably important. And for this, I'm going to talk about the 6 steps and the 4 R's. And I have to give credit here to a guy by the name of Jonah Berger, who wrote a book called Contagious, Why Things Catch On. I downloaded this book from Audible at the beginning of lockdown. I've probably listened to it 2 or 3 times in a year that has gone by. It is phenomenal. It is insightful. It is well researched. He gives you real live examples of small little campaigns that went completely insane. One of my favorite little stories is when he talks about Kit Kat and how Kit Kat sales had been plummeting for years and years and years. And all of a sudden, somebody triggered on that if you could tell people, if we could just link Kit Kat to coffee. So the expression became Kit Kat and coffee. Now, most people drink 5 or 6 cups of coffee a day. So each time they had a cup of coffee, they thought of Kit Kat, and Kit Kat sailed about 40%. So highly recommended. Take the trouble, download the book, read it. It's what it's all about. And his 6 steps, and that's STEPPS, he says in order for something to go viral, first of all, it has to have social currency. So Rian says, why are you drinking so little coffee? Asking for a friend. Those of you that like coffee, Rian Kutsia, he's in the chat, hunt him down. He'll send you some coffee, great coffee. How's that little pun for you there? And I hope you're happy. So first of all, whatever you post, you need to ask, does it have social currency? Is it what's important to people at this particular moment? Is it about an Easter giveaway? Is it something relevant at this particular time? The next thing that we want to know is, does it trigger a response? And triggers are very, very important. And coffee and Kit Kat were a great response to each other. So in other words, it's so easy, such a nice alliteration, coffee, Kit Kat, coffee, Kit Kat. Each time I think about coffee, so we want everything we do to trigger a response in people. For E is emotional connection. Can people have an emotional connection to this? Now, let me go back a little bit to the around about just before lockdown started, we had the Jerusalem dance. Now, the Jerusalem dance had a lot of social currency because that's what everyone was doing, and it had a real emotional connection. We could all understand it. We could all sing along with it. So, I mean, eventually, by the time everyone had done the Jerusalem dance, it had become the new Macarena. In fact, wherever I went, if I heard it, I don't know if you know the story about the 2 guys were being put to death, and the king asks the first guy, what's your dying wish? And he says, I'd like to hear Jerusalem one more time. And he turns to the second guy and he says, what's your dying wish? He says, please kill me first. So unfortunately, it was overplayed, but that gives you an idea about emotional connection that we then build up. The next thing is that there's public engagement. The public need to be involved in everything you do. So from social currency, trigger response, emotional connection, public engagement. And then P, does it offer practical value? Now, by the time I'm finished, there are going to be 6 of these. You're never going to get a particular post to do all 6 for you, but you can get it to do most of it. You need to tick off some of these boxes. So is there practical value? Now, practical value is a very interesting thing, because for example, I'm very often working with plumbers who want to get themselves out there. And one of my friends owns Bramley Plumbers, and I'm trying to convince him to put out a whole lot of short little videos, little 30 to 90-second videos of practical value that plumbers can offer you. So for example, how to change a washer on a tap without having to call a plumber in, how to switch off the mains to the water when something goes wrong, how to clean out the little filter at the top of your kitchen tap when water's not coming out fast enough. Now, the big concern would be, well, then people won't call him. But no, what they will do is they will come to value him, and they will come to trust him as the guy that gave him this practical advice. And then when something big does go wrong, that's when they'll do it. So are you offering practical advice? And then very importantly, do you have a story to tell? Now, somewhere in these 6 are the reason why things go, and I mean insanely viral. I've had a couple of small little things that I did go completely nuts. A little posting, I'll talk about those a bit later. So let's go here. Benjamin wants to know, where do you draw the line between providing social value and actually giving away intellectual property for possibly no benefit? Well, Benjamin, I need to tell you that I always believe that there will be benefit, even if you're giving away a little bit of IP. So what am I doing today? I am giving away IP today. And particularly a little later on in the talk, I'm going to give away a lot of IP to you. I'm going to give away a couple of little workbooks that you can complete on your own. What I'm hoping is that you'll say, you know what, that Mike guy, besides being extremely generous, is knowledgeable. And although I'm happy to do this on myself, I'd also like his help as much as possible. Scott says, give it away, give it away, give it away. Scott Kundal, thank you very much. I'm 100% with you. You know, another thing, people always at the start of my talks, people are always saying to me, aren't you scared people are going to copy this? And I say, listen, in today's world, copyright has become the right to copy. There are very few really original ideas left. People are taking little bits. Even my talk is taken from 15 talks, 19 books, 20 YouTube videos. I think share, 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 share. We live in a world where share builds trust. Give away as much practical value as you can. I can't tell you. And tell stories. Stories are also a wonderful way. Just tell stories. An abundance, thank you, Liesel, an abundance mindset will attract more business for you. And I'm learning that every single day. I thought I knew it beforehand. I'm learning it even more since I joined ExoFutures and Democratizing Entrepreneurs. So now, long before I read Contagious by Jonah Berger, I had my own reasons why I believed things went viral. And I called them the 4 R's of social media. They're things that had just come up for me, and I couldn't believe how well they worked every single time. And the first R is be regular. If you're going to be on social media, you need to be a regular. I'm not sure who's getting a bit of feedback there.
It's okay, I've muted them.
Being regular, thank you very much. Being regular is so important. It's about consistency. That's what Andrea is saying right now. Being regular is about consistency. I like the fact that if I take 2 weeks off social media, I'm going to get a couple of messages from people asking me if I'm okay. It makes me feel that at least they're missing me. Or if I don't post one of my crazy WhatsApp conversations that I have with my neighbor, then people are going to ask me, am I okay? So being regular is very important. So it's about being able to schedule what you do. The next thing is you need to be relevant. Relevant is probably the one thing that's got me more shares and more loves and more likes than anything else. I did something really strange in our last election. That's about 2 years ago. I arrived at an election booth. I had a big sign that said queue hopping rentals. I was holding a crutch and a moon boot, and I put there moon boot 50 Rand. That went, the reason why, besides it was funny, but it was so relevant to that particular moment. My little voice note about the changing of the name in Port Elizabeth was viral because it was relevant at that particular time. My most relevant video that I ever posted was a small little fun video that I made of Cyril Ramaphosa, where he announced that liquor could be lifted, and I showed the crowd cheering. I launched that literally 2 or 3 minutes after he had made the speech. So it was the relevance that got people out there. So regular, relevant. You also need to be remarkable. Now, remarkable is basically made up of able to remark about. That's really what it's about. Am I giving my customers something that they're able to remark about? Am I posting something that they're able to remark about? Am I posting something that, and this is where it is so important, regular, relevant, remarkable. Look at your own stuff before you post it. I know sometimes in a rush, I'll make a spelling mistake, I'll do something wrong. Look at your own post and say, are people able to remark about this? Is it incredible enough? Because that's where it all comes from. And then the 4th R is real. Be real, be authentic, be yourself, have a little bit of fun. It doesn't mean you can't use artistic license. Of course, I use artistic license when I make my jokes on WhatsApp. What I tend to do is I take well-known jokes and I convert them And this is so, so very important. So regular, relevant, remarkable, and real. And what I try and do, and every time I post something, I try and tick at least 3 of those boxes. If I'm not ticking 2 of the boxes, I actually won't post it. But I have this up in front of me and I say, regular. Yes, well, that one I can always tick because I am that regular guy. In fact, I'm an oversharer. If anyone wants to follow me on Facebook, it's facebook.com/MikeSaidWhat, all one word. I'll apologize in advance for the multitude of rubbish that I post, the jokes that I post, the stuff I post with my daughter, and the food that I post, but that's part of me building my brand. Then I'll look and I'll say, is it relevant? Now, another thing I did, and I know Lynn's not here because she's in a wedding somewhere in the country right now. I'm working with an author by the name of Lynn Joffe, and Lynn Joffe has brought out a book recently called The Gospel According to Wonder B. Lazarus. And what we did, I don't know if you all remember at Biden's inauguration, there was that little figure of Bernie Sanders sitting there all hunched up in his chair with little gloves and his hat on and looking like so sad. What we did was we took a copy of her book and we put a copy of her book in Bernie's hand, and then we superimposed Bernie into a whole lot of things. Now, those worked well for exactly 3 days. That's when it was relevant. By the time the Monday had come along, it was too many. The same with the Jerusalem dance. Eventually, people were doing it, and it was too late. So is it relevant at that particular time? So these are the 4 R's of social media. Follow them, use them. They will change the way you think.